Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is April 24th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. We got California to the right of the screen. We got our trough setting up here. You can see the parent low across the Gulf of Alaska, but eventually this is going to be speeding up right off our coastline, and you can see the trough and some of the mid and high level clouds starting to stream back towards the state of California. We'll take a look at those details here as we go through the video this morning. Looking at that marine layer fairly well entrenched across Los Angeles, San Diego, up the central coast, and you can see as these high level clouds start to stream over the area, it makes it difficult to see what is going on underneath that. But yeah, you can see pretty extensive marine layer there. But once you get across the interior areas, there's some nice sunshine out there. We had a few lightning strikes, a few thunderstorms there across Northern California as well. This is the last 24 hours. Some in Northern Nevada got in on that action also. And this is going to be a recurring theme here over the next few days, with eventually some thunderstorm threat coming down across Southern California as well, Arizona, New Mexico, often towards the early portion of next week. So speaking of lightning detection, if you want your own affordable home weather station, check it out. This is really fun to watch. It picks up and it tells you the distance of lightning strikes according to where you live, and it's got a pressure sensor. It does temperature, humidity. It does the solar radiation. It's got an ultrasonic anemometer, haptic rain gauge. It'll tell you when it starts raining at your house, all kinds of fun stuff. Click on that link down below to save 10% off. So taking a look at the European, again, we saw this trough here on the infrared satellite imagery. You can see that really get formed here as we go on in through Friday and into towards Saturday. Upper level low right across the region. And I'll show you what I mean by upper level low in a moment. And you see that trough kind of hangs on, the upper level low hangs on across the Southwest USA, according to last night's European run. So this may keep some showers in our forecast across the higher terrain, especially for Southern California, all the way on in through the early portion of next week. And then maybe another ridge will be building in the wake of that. We'll be checking that out over the next few days. Thunderstorm potential here. I debated about showing this because there's probably a little bit more widespread than this. This is day 1. There's day 2. Actually, that was day 3. Let me back up there. And we're going to take a look at day 2. But yeah, I would not be surprised to see some thunderstorms across the Sierra Nevada here as we go through tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night for sure. Lightning safety, National Weather Service Sacramento with the good graphics here. Stay away from tall trees, objects, avoid water, take shelter indoors if you can, or if you're out and about in your car, just stay in your car. You're usually safe there, unless you're a storm chaser. Of course, you run outside, you try to take pictures. But now peak wind gusts Friday and Saturday, just mentioning that it will get a bit breezy across some of the higher terrain and some of the east slopes of the mountains of Southern California. So nothing too extreme there, but just wanted to point that out. Now, looking at the European model run, so the precipitation is going to come in multiple rounds. We got thunderstorms moving across Northern California as we go through the afternoon hours up into towards Oregon. Kind of see the southeast to the northwest flow there, neutral tilted trough. Actually, negatively tilted trough, correction, as that initial band of thunderstorms moves up and across the area. Then we go through the day Friday, multiple rounds again. Another round will come. Higher elevation snowfall, upper level low shifts down across the coastal areas, brings some precipitation down towards Southern California, maybe a little bit of mountain snow down towards the transverse and the peninsular range as well, but we're probably going to get multiple rounds across the Sierra Nevada, portions of Nevada also. And then we scroll off into the early portion of next week, and I mentioned that upper level low kind of hanging out there, and you can kind of see these showers continuing to kick off as we go on in through the early to mid portion of the following week. So let's back this up. This is the North American Model High Resolution Composite Reflectivity. So there goes the thunderstorm activity as we go through the afternoon today. You see these showers firing up in some of the coastal range there. There's the Sacramento Valley and some of the higher terrain cascades all the way up in towards Oregon. We go on in through the day Friday, and you can see another round of thunderstorms coming across the Sierra Nevada and portions of Nevada, Northern California. We go on in through Friday night into Saturday morning. Look at that upper level low spinning right off the coastline there. And some of these segments could be rotating, could get a water spout or two with this activity, maybe a thunderstorm or two as well. Some brief heavy rainfall, and you can see that is going to be tracking towards Point Conception, Santa Barbara, Ventura County, and some of Southern California as we go on in through the day on Saturday. So yeah, if I scroll that back and forth, you can see that thing curling up like a little monster off the coastline. Now, taking a look at the GFS, just trying to get our bearings here. You can see that upper level low, pretty good model agreement on the GFS as well. It kind of clears the area a bit faster, and you kind of see that Pacific High and the ridge start to redevelop in the wake of that system also. But if we take a look at what I mean by an upper level low, so basically all we're saying is that this is more discernible at the upper levels of the atmosphere. You can clearly see the temperature contrast to 500 millibars or 18,000 feet setting up shop right over California. You're not seeing the effects of the surface heating and the daily solar radiation there, the diurnal versus nocturnal cycle, for example. So you can see that upper level low kind of hang on here as we go on in through the early portion of next week. You can also look at that at 10,000 feet here as well. So we'll scroll through there and it almost looks like a bowling ball swinging through the state of California. So it shows those temperature contrasts quite nicely. You don't see really the effects of the heating of the terrain at 10,000 feet as well. Now, also something else meteorologists look at is 5,000 feet, 850 millibars. We look at the temperature anomaly. So when you get to these blues and greens and the whites and the purples, that is below normal for this time of year. And you can kind of see this trough that's going to be over us as we go through this weekend on in towards early next week. So now we're going to go closer to the surface, about 2,500 feet, and you can clearly see how the desert southwest is much warmer than the surrounding areas. And of course, the solar radiation heating things up. This is what's known as the diurnal heating cycle. And you can kind of see that cooler air excuse me, just off the surface there. But again, it's not as discernible as what you saw in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So that's why it's called an upper level low. And if I scroll through this pretty quick, you can kind of see what looks like a heartbeat. That, again, is the daytime heating versus the nighttime cooling there across portions of the western USA. So anyway, taking a look at, let's do surface temperatures here as well. So if I scroll through this, you can see the frontal system right there as we go through the day, Friday and on in towards Saturday. I pointed that on a North American model there. So that's what's going to bring that frontal system all the way down through Southern California as we go on the day Saturday. But you notice it's really not as discernible as what was showing at the upper levels of the atmosphere. So it is a bit easier to see at the upper levels of the atmosphere. And if I scroll through that again there, you can kind of see, looks like kind of a heartbeat as you see the diurnal heating and the nocturnal cooling there across the landmass known as North America. So taking a look at lightning flash density potential. So this is for today, Thursday afternoon. We'll scroll on in towards Friday. Starts to include some of the Sierra Nevada there, portions of, maybe Lake Tahoe there, maybe Reno getting a thunderstorm, maybe Tonopah, Nevada. We go on in through Saturday afternoon. You see how this starts to creep a bit further south. And then we go through Sunday. Not much showing up there, but as we go on in through Monday, the troughing is still going to be hanging out the upper level low. So we could kick a thunderstorm off across Southern California Monday or Tuesday. We'll see how that trends over the next couple of days. European artificial intelligence. So it looks like storm totals for Southern California showing maybe around 1/3 of an inch there. You see some of the Sierra Nevada getting some pretty decent amounts as well. In fact, let me scroll down a little bit so you can kind of see the key there. When you start to see these yellows, that shows up as being more than an inch of precipitation there. So yeah, that is what this next storm is bringing. Not huge precipitation amounts, but definitely anything at this time of year is beneficial. Now, what I'm showing you here is snow depth in inches, something else fun to look at. So as this upper level low swings across the area, you can kind of see how the snowfall accumulates across some of the transverse range there. But it also shows something fun on this model as well. It shows it melt off. So you can kind of see as it falls and then it melts off eventually. And we are at that time of year where the snowpack is getting smaller across the Sierra Nevada. So if it went out more than just the 144 hours, you would see this decline across the higher terrain there. But yeah, it's interesting to watch that upper level low drop some of that snowfall and then take it away in the models because that is a snow depth measurement. So this is for today, Thursday, April 24th. So we got some 70s across the valley areas and some 80s, maybe towards 90 for some of the desert areas. But then we cool down a bit here as we go to Friday. Saturday, probably the coolest day of the bunch. Look at the valley areas, northern Sacramento Valley, only into the low 60s. In the desert areas, cooling down quite dramatically, maybe only topping off right around 80 degrees. We scroll on in towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, probably bouncing back as we go next week for some warmer conditions. We'll see how that trends. And looking as of last night or yesterday, statewide, 73% snow water equivalent or snowpack here across the entire state of California. So yeah, we are on that decline. We're going to pause this a little bit here because we're going to drop a little bit of snow with that upper level low. So hopefully that can, kind of slow our free fall, it looks like there as we're rapidly melting that snowpack. Here's the 6 to 10 day above normal signal there for the West Coast and that below normal signal for California after this low clears out. And this is so far this month of April. You can see much of the state of California has been a decent bit above normal, except some of the immediate coastal regions. And subscribers, you can see so far this year, we've picked up what? Let's see. for 20. This is actually 2024. So at the beginning of 2024, we had 15,000. So yeah, picked up about 17,000 subscribers in the last year and a few months there. So nice to see that. But anyway, otherwise, hope you guys are having a good day. We'll go through all this again tomorrow. We'll take a look at some of the high resolution rapid refresh solutions on this upper level low. We'll see if there's any kind of water spout or brief tornado threat across Southern California. We'll take another look at the thunderstorm potential. But otherwise, hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later.